Welcome back to Marnie and Sue's Peep Show, where we pull back the curtains on our businesses and let you take a peek inside of what we're up to today. We've had a little bit of technical difficulties. Thank you for hanging in there if you've been trying to watch us. We thought we'd start off with Sue telling us a little bit about, she went to Paul Evans's event last weekend. So how did that go?
Okay. Hi, everybody. It's good to be back in Nashville for a couple of days. And then this is the last Peep Show that you will see with this in the background, because next week when we do the Peep Show, you'll see the beach in the background, hopefully, because we're going to migrate south for the winter at the end of this week. But before we did that last Friday and Saturday, just a few days ago, I was in Montgomery and spent that with Paul Evans at his very first $1 million keynote event, and there were about maybe 17 of us there. It was really a wonderful event. I know Paul very well. I've coached with him for, gosh, 3 or 4 years now, and he's really great at a lot of things in the internet marketing industry, but more than anything, he is a speaker and commands very large speaking fees all across the United States. So this was all about, what is your message for your keynote speech? What is the thing that you really want to get across to people as your one idea, like the essence of what your speech is about? And we actually practiced boiling that down to one word. And then we filled out this matrix of all the different ideas we could put in the speech and learned how to take the building blocks in that matrix and develop it into a speech that had 3 to 5 points, depending on how long you're on the stage. And then the rest of the weekend was about finding speaking gigs and how to develop your one sheet, how to develop your slide deck, how to develop your B-rolls, so that your media rolls, so that people could see you in action, and how to kind of network through the industry so that you could start getting paid speaking gigs rather than speaking for free. So this was really for people who wanted to start making an income from speaking and really hone down and get clear about their essence. And there was also a little bit of talk about, what's going on in the industry and all that stuff. So all in all, I had a great time. I learned a lot, and it was good to spend the time with some of my other friends in the online marketing industry. Tried to get Marnie to come, but she couldn't make it this time, so maybe next time. Although I think his next one's going to be in Dallas, Marnie, so you'd have to go a lot further away.
So what was your biggest takeaway, would you say?
I think my biggest takeaway was, for me, realizing that I have spoken most of my career about things that have to do about the business world, about tools for your business, or social media for your business, or driving traffic to your business, or how to set up marketing funnels, kind of like the technical aspects of the back end of your business. But more and more people are asking me to talk about and respond to things that have to do with inspiration and motivation, and really the wisdom that you have to have, kind of that ground of being thing that we were talking about, Marnie, a couple weeks ago in one of the Peep shows. So, Paul was encouraging me to take the story of what I have been through in the past 2 years, from not being able to stand up to learning how to walk again when every doctor said I never would, and breaking that down into what did it take to do that, and then how could I apply that, help people apply that in their own lives, to their own personal challenges or to their business, because really it's across that, and how to tell the story of that. Not, I go back and forth about wanting to do that, but most there who were in the audience really wanted to hear more when they heard even just a tiny bit about the story. So that was probably my biggest takeaway. Although a second one that I've thought about a lot is, we sometimes don't think that we're speakers, but yet if you do Peep shows like this, if you do webinars, if you do classes or telesummits, then you're a speaker. Virtual speaking counts. It doesn't have to be speaking from a stage. So if you think about it in that way, you probably have a lot more speaking experience than you think you do. And Marnie and I for sure speak. I mean, we do this every week for half an hour. So, we are basically speaking completely unscripted and live. We don't have notes, you know, we don't have a script that go through any of that.
Yeah. So what was your one word?
What was my one word? My one word is encourage. Because everything that I do, whether I'm teaching or whether I'm consulting or whether I'm coaching, I'm encouraging people to create their own economy. And it's all about, I mean, I truly believe that we each have the ability to do that and that we can then be self-responsible. I would love to be able to teach people, any person, how to create their own economy and never depend on somebody else for work. So my speech would be about creating your own personal economy and the steps that it takes to do that, which are really the same steps I went through in learning how to walk again.
You know, as you were talking about your story of walking again, I thought we both bounced back from setbacks.
Yeah.
This was a physical thing, and
Yeah.
mine was more of a business thing, but it's that bouncing back and not letting it kill you, you know?
Yeah.
Not being willing to say, all right, I'll just settle for this, what they're telling me, you know?
Exactly. And I think as business owners, we have to do that because we're going to have, it's not if we're going to have a setback, it's when we're going to have a setback. You know, I've had smaller setbacks in my business than the big setback you had, Marnie, where you lost multiple six figures literally overnight a couple of years ago. But you've had a big business setback, and then you've also had personal things, you know, when you went through your divorce and so forth. Life happens, and you have to be able to have that ground and that willingness to come back so that you can keep your business and so that you can have your life the way you want it.
Yeah. So we had a question on, what was it, on managing your costs with staffing? Is that what
somebody wrote a question and said that she is concerned that as she gets busier and busier with more and more social media and more graphic work and more video, that her cost or her cost in staffing is going up really highly, and it's been hard to monetize that. So, and I mean, I've actually had that same thing going on because I know I have been using Mika more and more, and yet right now you and I were playing with the Peep Show. We're not really monetizing the Peep Show. So, you know, at some point we have to say, okay, we have to do something or we have to forget it. But this gal, I think her deal was she's been paying for really high quality technical, kind of what I would call a techie VA, but she has lapsed into allowing that techie VA to do a lot of really mundane tasks that are not $50 an hour tasks. They're $10 or $15 an hour tasks. So if you find that your costs are going up for your back end of your business, really look at who do you have doing what, and don't pay somebody $45 or $50 an hour to sit there and, you know, put a postcard in an envelope for you or to mail Christmas cards for you or something. So make sure that you're paying appropriate to what the task is. That's for one thing. But the other thing that I think was going on with this person was that she felt like she had had a pretty good working relationship with this VA, and then over time the VA had started wanting to kind of build her own business rather than working for other people like she has been doing for years. So consequently, her VA work is starting to get short shift, and now the lady who has hired her is having to monitor and correct her work a lot. And I don't know how you feel about that, Marnie, but my thing in business has always been, even when I was in the corporate world, I am slow to hire and I am fast to fire. I don't have time to mess with people who are no longer supporting where I'm going. So if they decide that they can get a better deal elsewhere or they want to go off on their own, I'm happy to help them do that. I'll even throw them some work if I can, but I want them to attend to my stuff if I'm paying them. So that whole attitude thing, that's real critical for me. And you've got to get rid of the bloodsuckers who suck your business dry. You shouldn't serve your support staff. Your support staff should serve you. So that's my deal, and I'm pretty hardcore about that. So you can tell the listeners today how you would handle that situation.
I would have an honest conversation with them. I'd just say, you know, it looks like you're really taking off with your business. I think it's great that you're going out on your own with that. And I'm thinking maybe I'm just holding you back on this with my projects and stuff. It's taking you off staff and off task and, you know,
Yeah.
diluting your creativity. I would come at it from, you know, it's really in your best interest for us to just kind of let this go. I mean, that's the way I'd handle it because I'm always, you know, low conflict, you know, but you know, I've had to talk to people before and just have that conversation, and usually they're really relieved because they just don't want to leave you in a lurch, you
Yeah.
know. And
Yeah,
if you,
I mean, there is, I mean, I don't do this in a conflictual way either, but I want to be very clear about, I hired you to support me, and if life has changed and you can't be there in the way that I need you to, well then, no harm, no foul. Best wishes to you. Maybe we can still work together in some other way, but it can't be this way because I'm now having to run after you and chase you. And I need you to be here pushing me and helping me push my business forward. So I agree. People's lives change. I think the other thing that I have come to realize over many long years of being in business and having 52 people who work for me when I was in the corporate world too, is that we hire up staff and we think they're going to stay forever, but they're not. Their lives are going to change, and your life is going to change. I mean, I had the best personal assistant in the whole wide world, but when Bill and I moved to Nashville 3 years ago, I lost her because she wasn't going to uproot her family, obviously, and move to a different city just so she could still work for me. So my needs changed, and that was really heartrending for both of us because we really enjoyed working with each other. But people's lives change. Either you're going to change, or you're going to have a bump in your business and you can't afford the staffing anymore, or they're going to change, or they're going to have a kid, or their mother's going to get sick, or they're going to get sick, or they're going to want to go out on their own. So don't ever expect it to last forever. And that's all the more reason to really constantly evaluate your staff and where they are with you and whether it's still a good match for them and for you.
yeah, and I think, it's a good idea to evaluate periodically to
Yeah.
see whether what they're doing is really paying off for you. You
Right.
know, because sometimes you have people doing things that it's not monetizable. It's not producing results. So I think when you're hiring people to do things, you need to keep a good look at, okay, are we getting results from this work? So if you got somebody putting articles all over the internet for you, well, that doesn't work anymore,
Right.
So
Right.
you got to look at, okay, don't do that.
Yeah. Like, what is the return on what you're having people do? And
Right.
sometimes things just go bad, and that happens to all of us. I don't know if I've told this story on here before or not, Marnie. If I have, stop me. But almost a year ago now, I really wanted to rebrand my website, and I hired someone to help me who I thought was really brilliant with branding. And so the deal was that we were going to rebrand my website and give it a new look, and then that person's company was going to help build the frame for the website, and then my own tech staff, Cindy, who's worked for me for years, was going to kind of put the pieces of the website together. But I really wanted to have a look that I thought this person could help me achieve. And it's almost a year later now, and we are nowhere with that website, and I finally just had to pull the plug and say, okay, I got some good branding ideas, and otherwise that money is lost and I'm going to have to start over again. Now, am I happy about that? No, I'm not. But, you can't get blood out of a turnip. And that person ended up having some things that went on in their own life. It kind of took their business down. It took them personally down. And I felt like all I could really do was salvage the situation and take the look and the feel. And now I'm going to have somebody else, build that frame and all. So it's been a super frustrating time. But on the other hand, that's just a part of business. And you win some and you lose some. And in this case, I'm not saying I lost everything because I did get some good ideas, but I've lost a lot of money. And I'm going to have to pay for that again with someone totally new. And that kind of, it's not great, but that's what happens in business sometimes. You just pick yourself up and go on.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we had a question about driving traffic. I may disappear for a second, but I'm gonna see if
Don't
that person.
disappear. You disappeared before.
I was gonna see if this
What
person's
happened?
face.
Marnie's computer crashed right when we were going live,
No,
so she had to stop and reboot the whole thing. So
I know it's a slow process. I was gonna see if this person posts anything. Um, mm, I guess they know about SEO. They're fine, but they were looking at traffic. They were looking at ways to drive traffic.
yeah,
And shall I share what I stumbled upon this weekend?
sure, why not?
Okay.
This is
All
a
right.
this is a very cool insider tip that you
Yeah,
can only get here on the Peep Show from Marnie. So listen up, it's a smart thing.
definitely give you the inside scoop on behind the curtains with this one. Okay, so Sunday, I was just kind of doing my meditation. I take a little time to just think about stuff on Sunday, and I had this thing come to me. It's like I have this class that I was going to give in December on how to create your amazing life, and it's the only training I have scheduled for December, and had it on my calendar. Was going to sell the program for 147, early bird 97. And so anyway, in my mind, very clearly, it was like, give it away. And I'm like, are you crazy? That's my one class I got booked for December. I'm like, give it away. It's like, all right, okay. So before I could chicken out, I went in online last night and I changed the price on it to, well, I gave a coupon code. So they put in co-create 88 or something like that. They can have it for free. But it goes into their cart, and then they add the code, and then I just started blasting that around on a couple, like my personal Facebook page and my business Facebook page, and I think I put it in one group, and then I put down there that the only thing I'm asking them to do is share it on Facebook. If you'll just share it on Facebook, then you can have the class for free, and so people started sharing it last night, and when I went to bed last night, I had about 27 people. It was within an hour who had signed up for it, and it started getting shared in like a weight loss group and a law of abundance group, and so anyway, now as of this call, the last time I checked, it was like at 65, and that was 3 or 4 hours ago. But the beauty of it is, and I didn't do this on purpose, I'm telling you, because I was like in meditation mode and I wasn't thinking through what I was doing. I've got the names and the emails and the phone numbers and the addresses for these people because I did it as a product.
Right.
So the way I like to call people up and just get a pulse, now I have all these phone numbers, and I have people on my list that were never there before. It's like new audiences that I wouldn't have reached. So the cool thing is that they'll get to experience one of my trainings, and most of the time when somebody takes one of my trainings, they take a lot of my trainings, So if they experience it, I think I'm going to end up with customers on the back end, perhaps some one-on-one consulting out of it. And I honestly didn't think all that through, but it's been kind of cool to watch it unfold.
Yeah, I think it's a very cool thing because, as you say, since they went through your shopping cart, you have that information. And you can contact them through snail mail or through phone or through email, any of those, rather than just having an email. But not only that, you can contact them with a drip campaign to see if they've gone through the course and what they've liked about it. You could offer a Q&A session for just, a couple of bucks, maybe later on right after the first of the year, and get a little bit of money back. So there's all kinds of stuff you could do with it. It's a very cool idea.
Yeah, and the nice thing about it is this particular class is sort of at the core of my ideal audience. They're more open-minded. They're usually into law of attraction. They're into a little bit of energy work. And that's what this class kind of encapsulates all that. So it gets me directly to the people that I want to reach.
Yeah, that's a smart idea. See, sometimes those meditations that you have, we were talking, wasn't it, last week about peripheral vision and just kind of walking away and then new ideas come to you, and that's a great example. Great.
Yeah, so there's a traffic idea. Anything else that we were going to talk about? I don't know.
If I have anything on my, I try to keep a little list of what people ask. going back to the speech making thing that I did with Paul this weekend, if you're a person who does want to get out and speak, make sure that you have a speaker one sheet ready, which is just a sheet that explains what your speech is about, what kind of audiences you reach out to, whether you can shrink it and make it 30 minutes or 45 minutes or 2 hours, that kind of thing. Just all the basic information. You can go and look at my speaker one sheet on my website at confidentmarketer.com if that will help you. But you need that. And also, if you have spoken before and you have some video about that, just a quick 2 or 3 minute little clip from that video will also help you with getting speaking gigs. So you do need that. And if you have different speeches, my suggestion is to do a speaker one sheet for each different speech, rather than jumbling it up with 5 or 6 different titles. You might could put 2 titles like, I could speak on this or this, but I don't think you want to give a list of 17 things that you can speak on, because that's not niched enough. So anyway, I thought that was a lot of people don't have that basic stuff, and it's kind of like a little part of the back end of your business that you need to have if you're going to reach out and try to do more speaking.
Cool. Oh, I wanted to add one more other thing. Is I put the people who purchased got that program into a Facebook group as well. So I've got this really good Facebook group, and I'm asking them, what attracted them to the class. So that's helping me know what it is that they're looking to get out of it. So it's a good way to get feedback instantly.
Yeah, I think that's a very cool idea. I mean, sometimes we just take inspired action, and I would say that what you did last night was really inspired action.
Yeah, it's lucked up. It's like, every once in a while, I luck up on something.
Well, do we have anything else for today, Marnie? Anything else you want to talk about?
I think that's it. I've got another product creation class to teach in another 30 minutes, so I guess I better get my head on straight.
Yeah, and I'm going to go run get some lunch because I've got a client call in a little while too. So we apologize for the technical difficulties on the front end. We'll be sure to cut that out before we post the replay link for you guys. And now I don't know if we have set up a time for next week, but we'll put it in the replay link when I send out the email to everybody. We'll put the time for next week's Peep Show in there as well. So this is Sue saying goodbye from Nashville for a while, and Marnie saying goodbye from Georgia, North Georgia. And we will see you next week.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.